Hi, everybody. It's Mark Rushton of markrushton.com. It is Sunday, February 7th, 2021. Very cold where I am. I think it's minus 22 Celsius, minus 6 Fahrenheit. And it's, what you can see the time there, 11:15 a.m. It's ridiculous here, just north of Iowa City, Iowa. And for some reason, the North Pole has descended upon our area. But we're not going to talk about that today. Let's talk about artists getting help on various services and some things that they might encounter. Because I think I've encountered many of them. Because the problem is I publish under so many different artist names, and I use a lot of, I'm active on a lot of different services, building playlists, using the services that are offered to me, whether they are Spotify for artists, Apple Music for artists, Pandora amp, those types of things. And those things are all excellent. Apple Music for artists, there's good data there, but Apple Music for artists proved to me that if you could build playlists until the end of time on Apple Music, and Apple Music is not going to present them in any way. And then also I had problems with the way that Apple Music presented some of my artists. They would not show the newer work first, which is just bizarre, right? You'd have to go and click extra things in order to see everything. But this isn't about that. This is about something that I've encountered on a number of different systems, which is problems with artist profiles. And there's a couple of different things. Like if there's somebody else with your name and their music shows up in your profile, that can be a problem. And or if you use multiple distributors, different distributors over a period of time, that may generate new artist profiles of the same name. So your music may be split among the same name, but some albums might be here, some albums might be here, some singles might be here. That's if you're an indie. And that's mainly my problem. That's one thing that I have seen over time. So what do you do, right? What do you do here? Oh, hold on. What is this? MobiZen. I rebooted my computer. It was acting crazy. As you can see, I'm still on Windows 7. I'm going to get a new one eventually, but for now, let's make do. I don't want to be going outside in this weather and shopping. So yeah, as you can see here, we are on the YouTube help page. And as anybody who has a pulse knows, you cannot get any help from YouTube Music, Google, whatever. They have always had a thing about an obvious disdainfulness of customer service. And why is that? I could theorize. I think largely it boils down to the tech mentality, which is just like, well, we should just have AI. AI can do it, or you can have a big help file, or they can Google the answer, or they have community, or whatever. But every now and then, something will come up where you need to either be able to chat with somebody, get a call, send an email, talk to somebody, right? I have a problem. And it's a little outside. It's not any of the 16 things that you recommend here. Don't send me to I will never use a forum. I will never use a community. Never do that. There's only one time I've used a community where it's actually been helpful. And that was a while ago. So don't even go there. We have our community page here. You can log in with that and discuss your problem, search for problems. Bad idea. It's a bad idea. Just give me a number and let me call to somebody who speaks English well, right? English is kind of a big language. Surely you can hire somebody to answer the phone, to solve problems. Be your Mr. Wolf, right? My name's Wolf. I solve problems, right? So yeah, YouTube help here. So let me give you a little bit of history here on this. I was doing a little digging today, a little working with the playlist. I've been working with the playlist all weekend, kind of improving some on Spotify and improving some on Pandora. And then I have made some YouTube playlists in the past, and I wanted to see whether or not they've done anything. And some of them kind of have, but making a playlist on YouTube, the video service, isn't necessarily that easy. If you're making a playlist of an album, it's pretty easy. But if you're making a playlist of individual tracks, it's clunky. It's really clunky. But that's the video service. But because I have YouTube Premium, because I hate ads, I also have YouTube Music. I have access to YouTube Music, which sort of used to be Google Play Music, but it wasn't. It was kind of built separately. And then Google got rid of Google Play Music. That's what Google does. They get rid of everything. And it's on to the next thing, right? It's disposable. And I was doing very well on Google Play Music for a long time. Pretty good. But, they destroyed that. Like they destroy everything. Google buys most of the time, if Google buys something, that's the beginning of the end. I learned that really with FeedBurner. Back when podcasting was started out, they bought FeedBurner for a lot of money, and it's been in mothballs for like, I don't know, 12, 13 years. I still have my old FeedBurner feeds out there. There they are. No one's working on it. So my problem with YouTube Music. So I went out to YouTube Music. I was looking at some reports on some of my sounds and music that I have distributed, and was looking at what they call it YouTube Red for some reason. YouTube Red in the reports is YouTube Music. I don't know why can't they call it YouTube Music? Why is it YouTube Red? Oh, because it was called YouTube Red for a while, and we can't keep the same name. We must change it constantly because we have problems. Marketing. We need to market this. We don't call it YouTube Red. Call it YouTube Music, YouTube Premium, YouTube. But as crazy as I just want to ignore all this, I was looking at the data and I was like, look at this. It's getting a little bit of activity here. Is it because of the playlist that I made? And I went out to YouTube Music, and yes, it is because of some of the playlists that I made. So making playlists on YouTube Music can be beneficial, at least for me, at least for some of the artists and some of the genres I publish under. Yes. Not a huge amount of money, but there's traction. Unlike Apple Music, you make public playlists on Apple Music. You'll be lucky if it ever gets a play. You'd be lucky if it ever gets discovered, because that's how Apple Music is. I said that just earlier in the video, but it was good to see. It was good to see that YouTube Music, making playlists on YouTube Music, actually you get a little bit of there's a little bit of traction there. That's nice. And if I see that sort of thing, I want to be invested in that. I want to be able to make playlists on there. I want to be able to present my content, my library of content, in a different way, so that perhaps I can expand my audience under all the different artists and genres that I work under. That's very important. But the problem was, One of the artists that I was publishing under was I've used a couple of different distributors under that artist name. And so what happened was when I switched over to another distributor, another profile was created within YouTube Music for that same artist name. So I would look up the artist name and I would only see like the old albums. Like, where are the new albums? And so I typed in one of the newer album names. There's the artist. Oh, what's going on here? Right? I don't see any of the older artists when I do the big see all or whatever. So I went up to the main, did a big search, and there was 2 different artist profiles. And one was doing better than the other as far as like subscribers and stuff like that. And I'm like, these need to get combined. This is not something that is done at the distributor level. This has nothing to do with the distributor. This has everything to do with the music streaming service that you're sending it to. Because I've had this problem on a couple of different platforms. Spotify, there is a dude that operates in rap with my name, and I've had to repeatedly get Spotify for Artists to get those removed from my profile and have him differentiated. So that's one side of the coin. And nothing against the dude, but if you're going to be publishing under a particular name, you should at least go out to like something like Spotify and see if somebody's been operating under that name for the last nearly 20 years. That would be helpful. Just saying. Pick another name. There's a lot out there. And then also on Pandora. This was also a problem on Pandora that I discovered in the last few months when I was cleaning everything up on there. And some of my artists I published under had like 3 different profiles. And that was pretty easy. I just contacted somebody at Pandora Amp, and they got it done either within a few days or a week or 2 or something like that, depending on when I contacted them. Not a big deal. It's a convenience for me, because then when I'm building playlists, everything is under the same profile. It's easier to manage that part of the catalog under that artist. But so yeah, you've got these sources out here where the artist can contact the company, the music streaming service. I can go to Spotify for Artists, and I know eventually the matter is going to get solved. There are ways to contact people there. Same thing with Pandora, who I think has the best customer service for artists through Pandora Amp. I think they're pretty good. And if you have a problem or they don't get back to you or something like that, they're a small crew. So be patient. Follow up. Use the new thing that they have down there in the blue. It's called something or other or whatever. It's good. They will get back to you, or they will route it to the people that can solve your problem. And I never used Apple Music for Artists in that way, but I kind of given up on them. I do make money for it, but the things I make, playlists and stuff, dead in the water. Why would I continue? Why would I continue to invest any time on that platform if I know that I can make playlists that do excellent on Spotify, excellent on Pandora, okay on YouTube Music, etc., etc., etc. But Apple Music, nothing. Zip. Goose eggs. Nada. But let's go back to YouTube Music. YouTube Music. Unfortunately, artists getting their work published on the YouTube Music, there's no special gateway for you. Unlike Spotify for Artists, unlike Pandora Amp. You are, at least I haven't seen it so far. I Googled it. There was nothing. And so I filled out the form, and there was like chats open. So okay, I'll do a chat. We'll see if that works. And then nobody ever showed. Well, Nick is here. I'm like, hi, Nick. Hi, Nick. Are you there? It was 20 minutes of that. Gave up, and then it was like, we can have somebody call you, right? So they called me, and it was some gal, in her house, and what did she want? She was just about subscriptions, not anything on the artist side. I said, well, do you have a department for that sort of stuff? And 10 minutes later, after putting me on hold and listening to just the worst classical music, and it's turning my phone down. Oh God. She comes back and she's like, well, artist.youtube.com, ARTIST. Well, you can see up here. ARTISTS.youtube.com, which led me to support.google.com /YouTube/get help. And this is no help right here. This is no help. I need help with my YouTube. How many people are filling this out, right? And I filled it out best I could for YouTube Music, and it just seemed like it was going into the abyss. And so I sent a separate thing. I copied off my text that I sent in as far as the information about the two profiles, and I sent it in down here. We'll go down here. Let's go over here. So down here below me, send feedback about our help center. So I did that, and that will probably go into the abyss too. We'll see. We'll see what happens here. I expect, if I hear anything back, and that's a roll of the dice. If I hear anything back, it'll be, you need to contact your distributor, right? Which that's not, nope. It has had nothing to do with the distributor. It's all about YouTube Music. Somewhere within your database or systems or processes or whatever, music that is coming in under a similar name from a different distributor is getting split off, and that's a problem. And interestingly enough, some of the other artists that names that I know where this wasn't a problem on YouTube Music, so I'm not quite sure what's going on there. But yeah, I have no expectations. I have no expectations. I don't think it's going to go anywhere. Not really a big deal. It'd be nice to, just for posterity's sake, just for down the road, getting everything combined and making sure I don't lose any of my subscribers, followers. That'd be nice. But ultimately, as far as like making playlists and all that sort of stuff on YouTube Music, it's just a mild inconvenience. But that's one thing that they should be aware of. Yeah, if you switch distributors, how does your streaming service handle that sort of stuff with regard to profiles? Does it have the intelligence to know that sort of stuff? Is there a review process? Is there a queue where that is manually reviewed? I don't know. I've only been working in IT for how long? They can't manage. But the main thing is, where do artists go with YouTube Music? Where do the artists? There's a problem, and I always say this to musicians out there, that you should be aware. You should look on all these different platforms, on all these streaming platforms. See how your music is being presented. See if all your titles are out there, because sometimes if all your titles aren't out there, that could be a problem with your distributor. But on the system itself, if you have if your albums are all, if your artist name is, this album's under the same artist name, but that's a problem of the streaming service, right? So you just have to know that. I know. I make things so hard. It's not a big deal, but the main problem is that the artists have nowhere to go. Really, I don't think they have anywhere to go on YouTube for YouTube music. And that's if you want to be, if your division here wants to have I don't know, any investment in the artist community, you have to have at least that sort of that go-to person. That person, it just has to be one person or a team or whatever, where they can just email's fine. Email's fine. Just give me a little email link and let me fill out a little form and just say, here's my problem. Here's what I've got. This one's easy to solve, but I can't solve it. And my distributor can't solve it. You guys are going to have to, you guys should be aware of this, right? Not knocking you. So I've done this. This is my part here, and that's that. But yeah, anytime I encounter anything weird with a Google product or Google's, I've tried to decrease my dependence on Google, just because of this. Because you buy their services or you use their services that are free, and you're out there, man. You are at their whim, right? But when it comes to being an artist and having your stuff out there, I don't know. I think, on YouTube, everybody's an artist, everybody's a content producer, all that sort of stuff. But on the music side, maybe you should have a go-to, a division. I mean, Pandora, it's very small. It might just be one or two people, a very small number of people who handle it. They handle it. Same thing with Spotify. I don't even know how they do it at Spotify for artists, but they get it done. And it's nice. It's nice to have that portal just for the artists. Anyway, that's my rant there. But that's good to know. It's good to know that, at least for me, making public playlists on YouTube Music are getting results. And again, I'm spending time on that platform. I'm looking and seeing how things are presented out there. And now it's a matter of feedback to them. Hey, we have a little problem out here. Let's see if we can get this solved. Then that makes my life a little bit easier. All right, starting to repeat myself. And I'm getting hungry. This it's just ridiculous out there. And I got to go out into it. Like, hopefully the garage door doesn't stick to the floor. I put so much of that ice melt down. I got down to like minus 11 Fahrenheit last night. I put so much of it down right on the end of the garage door, just so that it doesn't freeze, because you have contact with the outside, and it just man, it's like I live in the Arctic Circle. What is this? Why am I here? All right, Mark Rushton, markrushton.com. Hopefully people will watch this in the future, and maybe it's helpful. I don't know. And honestly, if I get results from this, I'll make a follow-up video and let everybody know how it goes. Because I know I can't be the only one out there who has this sort of problem. Now, but I think a lot of artists out there may not know it is a problem. Maybe it's not really a problem. I don't know. So, all right, that's it for now. Talk to you later.